Welcome along to the Record Club, brought to you by Record Store Day, the official charts and National Album Day, and proudly in association with Bowers Wilkins. My name is Jess Izzat, and we are very excited to say that we have our guest on the line today. Her name is Ella Eyre, and she's talking all about her new album, Everything in Time. If you've hung out with us here before, you will know that we're going to be spending the next half an hour or so talking to Ella all about the new record. And then we're going to be putting forward some of your questions about the album for her to answer. So make sure to get involved. Drop us a question in the comment section below. I will be asking a selection of those in the second half of our chat. And on top of that, one lucky person who sends in a question today is going to be randomly selected to win a pair of these snazzy Bowers and Wilkins PX7 Season 2 over ear noise cancelling headphones. Don't miss out. Get your questions to us. And if you haven't already got yourself a physical copy of the album, obviously we recommend that you order one from your local record store once our chat with our guest is over. But first, let's get into this week's Record Club and say a big hello to Ella Eyre.
Hello.
Jazz hands from the both of us. Everything
Yes,
in time, eh? We made it onto the chat.
we
Um,
did. You're so right. Honestly, that sentence has been haunting me for a really long time, and it is even more prominent today than ever.
I mean, I was having a few issues as well. If anyone's a long time watcher or listener of the Record Club, I'm not in my usual settings. Where in the world are you right now?
I'm in North London.
Nice, very on brand.
Yes.
And also equally, we have a amazing record store question every week. We like to start with someone from an independent record store from across the UK, and this one is from a record store in London. They're called Roan Records. I've not
Okay.
visited yet. I think I need to. And they're saying that they are loving the new record, and they said we're
Oh.
curious when you go to a record shop, which section do you usually head for first, and why? And if you had to pick, do you prefer new or second-hand vinyl?
Oh, that's a really hard question. I would say that go-to my go-to is probably like to go and check out like the old reggae, just because it's kind of what my dad would used to do when he collected vinyl. Not necessarily looking for anything specific, but I love the graphics. I love the artwork on vinyls, and particularly the older style ones. So like I like to dig deep and go backwards.
It's funny because you always say like don't judge a book by its cover, but often with records, like you're really I don't this is like also I mean, I'm not sure this is where it comes from, but like wearing your heart on your sleeve, wearing it on like the sleeve of the record. I feel like it is important. It needs to say you, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, especially for me because I've actually never had a vinyl before today. And so when I was designing that and choosing the sort of layout and the fonts and that, so much went into it, so much thought because, vinyls are a priceless, unforgettable collector's items, especially for an artist. And um, I was very surprised how much thought I put in. Not that surprised, but, like, we did a few rounds before I was anywhere near happy. So it's very important.
I'm really annoyed. I've left my record at home, but I do have one. Thank you so much. But I know you've got one there. Do you wanna show us
Yes.
it? Oh, it's
Yes.
so shy. That one's still in its packaging.
Yeah, it's still in its packaging. This is one of those ones that I haven't signed and taken out of packaging yet. So yeah. But I love her.
Oh, amazing. You must have been so happy when you first got hold of it. Where were you and when was that?
I was in my living room and a whole box had arrived for me to sign. And yeah, it was just a really beautiful experience to hold it in my hands for the first time. So to look at this picture and like, this big and I'm really proud of it. I love it. I particularly love the inside sleeve as well. Did a lot of work on, getting the lyrics written, but also like presented in a way that felt very authentic to the record and to me.
It feels really personal. I know there's like I think there's some like drawings in there, if I'm right in thinking. I haven't got mine with me. Um,
Yes,
but
they're right.
yeah, talk to us about what people, if they haven't got their hands on one, what they should be looking out for.
Well, I mean, maybe I should just open this one.
Oh, it's
Um,
like an unboxing.
yeah, it's an unboxing. I would say like for the vinyl, like I was very, very conscious that I didn't want font on the front to like confuse things because I just really love this image. Everything in time, the sentence itself speaks for itself, and I love this picture because it's very much like me just sort of falling almost in like a slow-mo effect, and like the idea is creating this image of everything falling into place when it's going to fall into place. And so trying to find a place to put everything in time on here without like making it feel corny was really tough. And so in the end I just made the executive decision to be like, nothing, I don't want any
Mhm.
font. um and then like on the inside, it's all the obviously the lyrics and stuff, but there are little doodles. So like I'm an Aries, I talk about that a lot on the album. Like this fish is actually a design that my mum made when I was, well, before I was born, when she was living in Jamaica and hand painting t-shirts to be able to live out there. That was one of the designs from her t-shirts that I actually brought back and hand painted with her for a limited merch run, a few years ago. And then yeah, bits and bobs. There's a picture of my dad here, and pictures of me in the studio. And then yeah, just like little poignant lyrics like "Why do red flags look like love hearts?"
It's so nice.
All that.
It
Thank
feels
you.
so, it's so personal, and like even like your mum's drawings in there as well. Am I right in thinking that's a tattoo that you have?
It is. You're right. I did get it tattooed. I got it tattooed because I have a tattoo for my. I have two tattoos for my dad. One for my nan, and my mum was getting very upset that I hadn't got her a tattoo yet. And I was like, "Well, mum, you're not deceased yet, and hopefully you won't be for a long time. So
Yeah,
hold the phone." But you know what? I love this fish. I love what it represents, especially now. And yeah, it's just I love I love I love tattoos.
amazing. Yeah, I have to say big ups to Rome Records as well for the initial question, but yeah, let's get it. So, everything in time. Obviously, the name of the album, the opener, it means a lot to you. But it has been it's 10 years since we've heard like a big project. I feel like this one's your reintroduction. Like even the personal bits that you've got on the record, but like you're the only one who's going to get me singing I'm an Aries, even though I'm a Scorpio through and through. But you know, it's a really catchy album. I feel like you've got all the experience that you have under your belt with your music making, but you've still got this like rawness of like a new. It feels new. I don't know. For me, it feels new but nostalgic at the same time with you.
I'll take that. I will. Like, I feel like there are definitely elements of nostalgia in there because I took a lot of inspiration from my first album, really. Because I was signed to a major label when I was 16. I made this record that I love. It's got lots of songs on it that I absolutely adore, but it also came simultaneously at the same time as me being put on Waiting All Night, having a number one, winning a Brit Award. And so, like, my thank you. And you know that song changed my life. I love performing it. I love that it still has a life these like to this day. That's over 10 years ago now. But it definitely did really define my direction as an artist. You know, like when I first got signed before Waiting All Night had happened, I was a soul pop artist. You know, I was all about my voice. I was all about the greats like the Nina Simones, the Ella Fitzgeralds. And I would say that that vision got derailed somewhat when, you know, I had a number one on the dance drum and bass record. And you know, whilst I'm really grateful for the places that that song has taken me, it really meant that I felt like my own personal artistry suffered.
Mm.
And I sort of came to terms with that, you know, in 2020 when we were all in lockdown, rethinking our lives, and I also had vocal surgery, so I was unable to speak for a month. I had to do vocal rehab for 6 months, and it was a really traumatic time. It was really hard, and I just knew that in order to feel fulfilled, I was gonna need to change something about the way that I was operating in the music industry. And it was listening to my first album that made me realize that I never really got to like live out that dream of what it was supposed to be like. And so everything in time is definitely you know, my second album. And like it's almost like, but I've been born again, you know. It feels like the I don't know, yeah. I can't think of what the word is now, but it's what my first album should have been, but it's a much more mature, realized version of myself now, and I love it. I love the records on it, and I'm really really proud of it.
Yeah, yeah, I've written in some of my notes as a song Little Things that again is one that I'm like willing out because I'm like, no, I'm gonna listen to that again when I'm walking around. I do listen to albums in its order, but sometimes there's just ones where I like gets me again. Um yeah, I mean even like the music video, it's like nostalgic but like current at the same time. It's like you in the moment, but there's
Yeah.
like this element of nostalgia there. We can't go through every single song, but like that one is one of my favorites. So can you
Oh,
tell me a little
cute.
bit about Little Things?
Little Things was written with some of my favorite Swedish writers that I wrote quite a lot with on this record. There's a lot of songs that didn't make the album that will be making the next album that I'm really excited about. But um, Little Things is an interesting one because I feel like lots of artists have a song called Little Things. And I think that's what's quite nice about it is that it's just my interpretation of what the little things mean to me. And, like, I think that we can get so bogged down in all these major events in our lives and actually like it's the little things that sort of hold us all together in the end.
Mm. You mentioned working with people. Like, obviously, you've had some of the biggest collaborations with Rudimental, as you've spoken about. And then artists that I know, slightly newer names like Larizzle, which is where we last
Yes.
caught up. I mean, again, go check out Ella on Larizzle's tune if you get a minute after checking out the record.
Yeah,
Um,
love that song.
but how did you go about choosing the collaborations for your album? So you've got Tiggs on there and you've got Jay Prince. Yeah, what was that decision making process?
I mean, it was quite simple for me. Like when I first started, when I knew that I was making this record, I didn't really have much. I didn't have that many like strong ideas other than that I knew that I wanted to move away from the dance world because I can dance feature till I'm blue in the face, like I can write a song and jump on a record tomorrow. But it was really important for me to like really establish who my solo artistry is. And so
Mm,
that was only the kind of rule that I had. And I did kind of say to myself that I wasn't going to do any collaborations on the album as well, because again, it felt I didn't want another artist to come on board and sort of derail what it was that I was trying to achieve. But with Jay and Tiggs, I feel like I'm a big fan of their work, a big fan of their artistry, a big fan of their music, but they're also really good friends of mine. And so when I wrote those songs, like I they were just the first people that I thought of when I thought about jumping on a section. And Tiggs killed it, Jay killed it. I actually performed Her in the Internet with Jay last weekend, and it was just so special to share the stage with a friend because I think having done a lot of collaborations, I'll be real, not all of them are like 100% pleasant. Not all of them feel like a relationship, a
mm,
collaboration of two creatives coming together. And so it's those experiences that left me feeling like anything on my own personal records needs to be friends and family.
mm, yeah. What was it like in the studio for you? Was this a record that, because I know it was a long time in the making, was it one where you like jumped in and you had, I don't know, a couple weeks to like just get down and record it? Or has it been like in the making, like properly for a while?
No, I've never been one of those artists that's able to say, right, we're writing the album in 6 months. This is my second album and it's been 10 years since the first. So like I don't operate like that. But with this album, I'd already written a couple of songs that were kind of like leading me in the direction that I wanted to go in, but I still didn't really have like the end point in my periphery yet. And I would say that overall it took about 4 years to finish the album. I actually started releasing some of the album 2 years ago. So,
Mm,
like even when I thought the album was done, it wasn't done. And I went back and wrote Everything in Time, Red Flags, and What About Me. And so um I just felt like making this album, I was going through so many different phases in life. Like I just had vocal surgery obviously, and then I left a really long-term relationship, and then what but and I at that point the album was finished, but then because I would almost have this new lease of life and I had all these other things to say and lessons that I learned, I had to go back to the studio because I just had so much to get down and get out of me. And that then songs like Domino Season, Red Flags, Everything in Time, What About Me wouldn't have been on the album if I finished it when I was supposed to have finished it. So I am the queen of missing a deadline. I'm the queen of starting things and not finishing them. But I'm really proud that I was able to deliver the record on my birthday this year and be like, this is it, have it.
Red Flags is so damn catchy. Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
that hook is next level.
Thank
Um,
you.
which tune almost didn't make it onto the record for whatever reason?
So many. But I would say the one that sticks in my mind the most is Hell Yeah, which is actually so crazy to say that now that it's like had the most success at radio, and like I've done like multiple TV performances with that song, and I always knew that song was a great song, but it's had so many different lives. It's been reproduced so many times. I've revocaled it so many times because when I wrote it, I was still in my sort of dance era kind of thing, not trying to do that, but it felt confused. And so, like, it's had to take on different forms to get to where it is today. And the mix for this song was so long. Like, I don't even know how many versions we got through. And I just reached a point where I was just like, I can't be bothered. I don't even think this is worth it anymore. I think it's so easy to get into that headspace when you've heard something over and over and over and over and over again, and it's just still not right. And like, to be honest, when I approved it, I actually still wasn't happy with it, but it was just like, fuck it, it's got to go. That's how it's going to be. And um and then yeah, I never went back and changed it. So I think it just goes to show that when you're in the final cycles of finishing a record, actually trying to have the bigger picture in mind is really, really difficult.
I have also loved, I can see by the way that people are getting their questions to us. So this kind of reminded me. And keep getting them to us. We're coming in just one question's time. I've been loving the like Airheads clan. I love that
Yeah.
name. Definitely one myself.
Hey.
Um,
Welcome, welcome.
I love the like more intimate gigs that you've done as well. Has there been like a noticeable, like surprising fan favorite for you? One that you were a bit like, oh, didn't think that one would be the one that people are jamming to.
Yeah, I would say Little Things. And it's so funny because, like, that's another song that also didn't really make it to the album because I love it. But apparently everybody else loves it a million, million, million times more than me. And so, um, of course I'm grateful. I wrote the record, I love it. But it's the one that I don't know. I could have happily not had on the album, but it's also one that as you love it, lots of people love it, and I'm like, that's amazing. I'm glad you love it.
Shall I tell you
um,
why? So the reason why I think,
yeah,
well, I think because it's like chill but kind of like upbeat at the same
yeah,
time. I don't know
yeah,
how to describe. Like you can like bop to it and jam to it, but then it's like you'll listen to it one time and you'll hear something, whether it's like the little bits of production or
yeah.
whether it's like you're really deep in the lyrics, and I don't know, just like every layer, it just gets better. That's what I think.
Oh, I'm glad. I mean, I love it. I think there's just an element of, because I'm an Aries and a lot of my music is quite like bolshy and impactful and sassy. Like, Little Things just almost feel so vulnerable and so
Mm.
soft in a way that I don't relate to very well. But there are moments when I listen to that song and a tear comes to my eyes. So like, I do get it. It's just, it hits me at different times.
All right. So Darren on the official charts Twitter says, loving the new album. Will you be touring with it? And if so, please tell me you're coming to Manchester.
Well, I'm so sorry to say that I am on tour currently. I'm doing Candlelight acoustic tour. It's only short, but I have already done Manchester. But I really do intend on doing more shows next year. I've announced another London show. I've announced some American shows. We are slowly working on like a larger tour, but I think being an independent artist, the landscape has just changed so much. And like, as much as I love being on the road, it is a lot more of a logisticals thing to be able to afford and make it worth our while. What I don't want to do is put a tour on sale and then have to cancel everything. So
Mm.
um everything in time.
Nice. Tom on the Record Club's Facebook says, if you could go back in time, what would you say to 16-year-old now in retrospect of everything in time? Oh my God, you're going to make me cry.
What would I say now in terms of in retrospect
Yeah,
since
to a
when I was 16?
16-year-old you, I guess.
Oh God. Yeah, I there is so much I would say to 16-year-old me today. I actually can't lie, but I would just say that, like, you can't control everything, and you can't control narratives about you. You can't control people's perception. You can't control you know how your music's going to be received, or where you're going in life. You just have to be joyful whilst you're doing it, because it's such a hard headspace to currently reside in, consistently reside in, to be so bothered about the things that you can't control. It's a really unhealthy place to be. And I think that I spent a lot of time in my teens feeling misunderstood and angsty and heartbroken and not really knowing how to communicate that in a way that wasn't intimidating or aggressive. And so I think that now, having had a lot of therapy, and recovered from a few heartbreaks, I think I just recognize that, you know there is a real beauty in finding peace in the process. Even if you are impatient, there's a real beauty in just being able to sit back and just say, hey, I can't do anything about this, and I'm just going to work my hardest to do the things that make me happy in the meantime.
That is a level of nonchalance and peace that I aspire to as well.
Yeah, me too, Jess. Me too. Like, I'm still working on it.
Yeah, aren't we all? Beth on the official charts Instagram says, "Peep the Aries tattoo. Do you find things like astrology are a big influence on your music and your creativity?"
I wouldn't say so much on my creativity, but I would just say, like, maybe that's because as an artist and as a creative, I just feel like I'm constantly living in that space anyway. Like, anything's a lyric, even if someone's talking to me and I'm like, that's fantastic, I'm writing that down. So I would say that astrology I find very useful to guide me sometimes when things feel heavy and hard, or just confusing. Like, I don't love to admit that I rely on the stars sometimes, but I do. Sometimes it's really hard in life to sort of make sense of anything, and you might check your co-star and it will tell you not to text that person, or maybe you should tell that. But I don't know. Like, sometimes I just feel like when I'm at a bit of despair, I sort of look to a wider perspective, and like that can really help with like soothing or comforting like how I'm feeling about something that's hard.
I'm a big astrology person, to be fair. So I hear you. You're not going to let it like completely shape you, but sometimes you just need like an outside little something, like bit of
Yeah,
inspiration.
I feel like sometimes when you're just sort of like going through a hard patch, and then you open up one of your apps and it's like you're going through a hard patch, but trust the process. You're like, "Phew, I
You
needed
needed
that,
that, yeah.
like I needed that greater goodness to just tell me something that it's gonna be okay, and it just for that moment, feels like a bit of a hug."
Mm. We have Philippe on the Record Club's Twitter. He says, "How much design input did you have on the album cover?"
100%. To be honest, I would say that that's a new thing since being an independent artist, but it's not really. Like, ever since I've been an artist, I've always been quite bullheadish in terms of the way that I like to be represented. But it was definitely guided a lot more in the past. But with this, it was very much like, yeah, I want earthy tones, I want blue skies, I want to feel like I'm falling, and I don't want to be in a big fancy dress. Like, we can turn some looks in some of the other shots, but I just, for the album cover, I just want it to be uncomplicated, but in a nice hot sunny place.
Yeah, where are you?
It was in Fuerteventura.
Oof. Is that where some of the visuals were? I think it was on my Spotify. I looked and there's like you in like the sea in this amazing dress, and I was like, oh, it looks so stunning.
Yes. Yeah, so but we weren't filming anything when I was there. We were literally just shooting the album cover and the single covers, and then sort of the whole campaign photography. But obviously everyone's got their phones out and is doing bits. And so, like, one of the canvases on Spotify is this really beautiful moment where I'm stood on a rock in this beautiful white dress,
Mm.
and then like my hairstylist had her phone on slow-mo just by chance, and the wave hits the back of my rock, and it just sort of like it explodes
Ah,
around me, and it just looks like glass is shattered, and that's the artwork for Kintsugi.
shout out to the stylist. Of course she
Yes,
knows. Of
shout
course she
out
does.
Shamaran.
All right, that is all we have time for. I do have one more question,
Okay.
just because I feel like this is like it's a big one for you, even though it's not a debut. It feels like your artistry in the making. Who was the reaction? Who did you show, or maybe it was someone that you showed first? Who was the reaction to the album that really got you?
Um, Do you know what? I'm gonna say my mum, because my mum is my harshest critic, my biggest fan, but my most direct and harshest critic. And I don't think she means to be that person, but she's not shy when she doesn't like something. And I think that I've been existing in a world for a minute where I would play her music and she'd be a bit like, yeah, yeah, it's not waiting all night, or it's not, and like, that's a really hard pill to swallow, particularly when it's your mum. And like in my eyes, I'm like, mum, you should love everything I do. So I think there was definitely like a nervousness about playing my mum the album. And like, to be honest, even when I was playing it to her, like as I was making it, I was still getting this sort of like, "Meh, meh, meh." But then like when there were obviously moments that she did enjoy, but when it was finished and as a whole, and she's seeing it live, and like she's just, yeah, she's incredibly proud, very, very like in love with it. I think she is proud of who I'm becoming, and the way that I'm presenting, and having to take the reins, and doing a lot more than I've ever had to do as an artist, to be seen and be heard. And she's definitely had me on the end of the phone a few times where I'm like, I can't do it anymore. It's too hard. It's too hard. And so I don't even think she thought I was going to get there at some point. So I'm grateful that I did, and I'm grateful that she loves it. And I'm just, yeah, I'm also really grateful that my fans love it. Like it's been a long time since I've been able to feed them in this way, and for the response to just be so authentically great is just everything my heart could have hoped for this year.
Shout out Mumsy, and obviously shout out you, Ella Air. Thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, everyone at home, before we say our goodbyes, make sure to get yourself a physical copy of Everything in Time now that this episode's over. Pick one up from your local record store. Oh, and also excited to announce that the winner of this week's Bowers and Wilkins wireless headphones prize is Darren on the official charts. Twitter, slide into the record club's DMs. We'll get those headphones to you. My name is Jess Izzat. Thank you everyone for joining us and sending in your questions. This and all previous episodes are available for you to watch back on Spotify or YouTube. And yeah, I'll see you for the next episode of the Record Club. Ella Air,
Thank
thank you
you
so
so much,
much.
Jess. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.